Hey everybody, welcome to Sex, Drugs, and Opera for April 21st, 2018.
Back for week 2.
Back at you. My name's Jared Ice here, as always, with Michael Pegger.
And Michael Pegger here.
I already said your fucking name.
my voice. No, I wanted to hear my voice.
Okay.
It's so resonant.
Today's a special episode because it's an underground episode because
right.
we're literally fucking underground.
We're trying out new recording studios, and this one is the vacant storage unit in the bottom of my building. And actually, I gotta say, it's not bad. Oh, I forgot that we're on camera too. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if we put up some walls here, we've been talking about getting a neon sign. Look, we're working on making this better for you, so don't think we're doing nothing.
And it was also like 78 degrees today, but it is easily 52 degrees in here.
It feels like a goddamn meat locker in here. And up on the surface, it's hotter than two rats fucking in a wool sock up there.
Hey, that's mine, dude. You stole that.
I know.
one.
I knew it was
You
coming.
heard
Someone to
that
take
from
it.
me. So, people, hey, look. I don't know if we could have expected a better response from the first week of recording.
That's
You
true.
guys let us know too. My heart went a little pitter patter when I got some feedback from everybody. So thanks. Hey, keep it coming. Keep writing. Keep letting us know what you like, what we suck at, because I'm sure we suck at a lot of stuff. We're brand new.
No,
at this.
I got some feedback about what we did shitty, and I appreciate it. Okay, my
Nice.
feelings weren't hurt, and so
Do you want to air that dirty laundry?
I
or you
don't
wanna-
because it's one of those things where as soon as I tell people what we could have improved, they're gonna hear it. So, yeah, we're aware. We're doing our best. Okay, we're in the storage shed now. It's an upgrade.
I like it. Like I said, you get some walls up in here, you guys won't know. You won't know a thing. You'll think we're in Tahiti, for God's sake.
Good trouble in Tahiti, Mike.
Opera. Oh man, opera references.
I want to get at the beer.
Yeah,
I want to get into the opera here really fast, but Mike and I are going to do this thing where we buy a beer for each other.
Craft beer every week.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not a major part of the podcast. There's actually a bottle opener on that bag.
I know.
Mike has his tools. We're in the as I said in the storage shed down here. So we got the mic sitting on a dartboard and a drill.
It's good stuff.
I might put a video on Instagram. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what this low light is, because the one light in here is a motion sensor and it went off. So
Yeah,
this is,
you got to wave your hands to get this shit going.
all right. Here's the deal. We're gonna have a craft beer every week. I decided to go for a good sounding beer since you guys won't be able to see it. This is the Hobgoblin Indiana Pale Ale from the Witchword Brewery Company.
The Hobgoblin, 5.3%.
Get it up there. Get it up there. Let them see that.
Okay, maybe you'll see this on Instagram.
5.3%. It's not bad. I don't know this beer, so we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, let's crack these open and get into it here.
Give it a shot.
So, so Mike and I, we had kind of a crazy week.
Fuck yeah, we had a crazy week.
We ended up in Chemnitz. Some of you might have seen it on the Instagram. Oh, I almost dropped this. There's beers in there.
Yeah. Did you open it?
No, give me that.
I'll open yours. You give him the Chemnitz story.
So we ended up in East Germany out there. We had some business to tend to out in Dresden. So we drove through the night, actually crashed in a porno hotel, mirrors on every wall, and then made our way
God,
back.
That's a fucking lie.
Mike,
Porno
I
hotel.
have photos, man. There were literally mirrors on every single wall.
Great.
All that was missing the ceiling, but we had a good time. We yelled at some sheep.
That's right.
What to say? I don't know.
I don't know if we have video of that though.
No, that's just for us,
That's
Mike.
a shame.
We just hold that in our hearts. But yeah, I don't know. Travels on the road.
Anybody who knows, hopefully you heard last week and you heard all about Chemnitz. We visited there. We made our mea culpum to them right there. Mea culpa, I mean. That's, yeah. Hey, Chemnitz. Chemnitz rocks, baby.
That's a good beer, man.
Chemnitz
That's a good beer.
rocks. Let me give that a shot.
Look, I wanna give a quick shout out before we get started here.
Yeah.
We had a lot of kind of movement lately in the social media networks thanks to a feature we had on 360 Degrees of Opera, which is a channel on Facebook and Instagram, which basically tries to show opera from the kind of behind stage way. And they decided to do a feature. Well, actually, we won a caption contest.
That's right.
I suppose we fucking earned that shit.
That's right.
But no, it was super nice of them. And it's something I find very interesting because I came from more of a rock background. And in the classical world, I find there's less of a mutual support.
That's
what would you
right.
call that?
I mean, look, she contacted us and was really excited that we were posting on the stuff, and she was excited that there was another channel out there. Look, the thing is, Somebody could have easily seen that as competition. She didn't, and that's awesome. That's great.
That's what I was going to say is, I mean, you could view that as somebody that's trying to cut into your, like, share of the market. You know what I mean? But no, she decided instead to kind of reach out and help. And I think there should be more of that in the classical world.
Yeah, I agree, dude.
There's not.
Yeah, look, that's you know what? That's got to be our theme for this week, dude. What's that like? What do you guys think about going to an audition or being in rehearsals? Do you often feel like somebody's like your colleagues are trying to dick measure, or people are against you? What do you think, Jared?
I mean, a tough thing is when I left college. When you're in college, I feel like there's a lot of support, verbal support from peers, but also from professors, right?
Yeah, there's also some.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the nitpicking. But how often do you come off the stage and someone says, "Hey, man, good job"?
Yeah, I mean, so when you're in the fest ensemble, you know, the nice thing about having a fest ensemble where you are with people together for years making opera, is you have the chance all the time to sit down, drink beer, bullshit, and you're in multiple productions together, and it becomes a team effort. That's nice. You don't get so much of that when you go out auditioning and stuff.
No, auditioning, no. I mean, there are so many types of auditioners. I just did one recently, and every type was there. You had the guy who was pacing and nervous and kind of just talking the whole time. You know that guy?
Oh, yeah.
You know? No, man, that guy singing Cavaradossia, man, I fucking, you know.
Oh, yeah, you mean making comments to you, too.
Well, just kind of to nobody, you know?
Right.
There's that guy, and he's trying to kind of fuck up your chi or whatever. And then you got the person that's trying to play it cool. I mean, what other people you got?
And then
you've
got the real chi person, the person who's in the corner actually trying to harness some goddamn chi.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different thing because you're not allowed to talk to those people. You can't fuck with them, and if you do, it's weird. And I don't know, man. Again, you mentioned it last week. Don't fuck with your routine.
Yeah.
You sing every day. Don't fuck with your routine in an audition. If you want things to be normal, why don't you just be normal, you know?
I will say this.
Say it.
The thing about
What will you say?
What I'm gonna fucking say is the thing about an audition is you're doing that on your own. You got to go in there. You got to fucking do that.
That's true.
But when you're in a show, that's a weird balance because you have to balance what you need with what other people need.
That's right.
And you got some people who are quiet, and then you got some people who are talkers. And if you kind of
during the shows,
like
you mean?
backstage, there's this nervous energy before a show starts, and some people are like, "Oh man, what if I drop that water tonight? Wouldn't that be fucking funny?" And you gotta,
you're like, "No!"
Like you gotta let them do that shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And if you kind of like don't let them act that way, then you're not doing the best thing for the show. So you have to balance your needs with your castmates' needs. That's being a good colleague.
Yeah, it's true.
The other side of that is leaving people the fuck alone before they're seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because some scenes you walk out there, you're like, you play the butler and you fucking leave. But there's some dramatic fucking scenes.
Yeah, look, it's true. There's just a way of going about it. Unfortunately, sometimes the default is for people to play the diva or the divo, right? They will let you know and in a hard way. And for me, it takes 1 second. You know, I like to bullshit. I'm a bullshitter. Actually, Jared and I are both bullshitters, and that's why we like doing this show. And I like to bullshit before a scene or whatever. And I think to myself, if I need to get ready, I will bullshit, and then at some point I feel, okay, now it's time for me to focus. A simple, hey, dude, I need a couple minutes. Is that cool?
Just being honest.
Boom. That's it.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about where you sing or the shows you sing, but Mike.
Sure.
Can I say the show that I saw you do
sure.
recently?
Do it.
Okay, Mike. I saw Mike in Footloose, and he's playing the
Reverend Shaw.
Reverend
Dude,
Shaw.
I'm an opera singer, but at this house I saw him fest in Darmstadt at the Staatstheater in Darmstadt.
But it's everywhere. You got to do both, right?
Well,
It's just the business these days.
Yeah, and most, especially in the smaller theaters, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we can speak more from the German perspective here because these German houses, I mean, they'll do 10, 11 productions a year.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a little different than the American system. And some of these, what they'll do is they'll have waves. They'll do really, really artsy-fartsy stuff, something that they know they're not going to sell tickets to. And because of that, they'll balance it with either a Tosca or a Carmen, or they'll go full musical, full-blown musical.
What I've seen lately is new opera, right? New work. I mean, there's a lot of funding for that. You can generate a different market for that. So the houses will do new work, then they'll do a classic big one, Tosca, Carmen, Aida. They'll do a Mozart, right? They'll do an operetta, and they'll do a musical.
Yeah, that's right.
At least.
That's like the formula.
And you're going to be in at least 3 of those, I think.
Look, not everybody in my house or in houses in general is comfortable doing musical theater. Totally understand it. It's not. I can't look. If I go like this, I go totally understand it.
Yeah, give him the old Doppler effect. Just get your chin on that pop guard, baby.
Yeah, that's hard, dude. That's hard.
But
That's
my question actually was, okay, so in this
wait. What I was gonna say is, I mean, it's fine if you can't do the other stuff. There are people who genuinely don't have a feel for it. There are people who genuinely can't. They feel like they can't make their voice fit it. My deal is, I say, okay, I'm gonna do the musical, but I gotta sing it like me.
Yeah.
If you're expecting me to do this wide sort of melty, by the way, melt. Maybe not everybody knows that melting is the male version of belting. Did you know that, Jared?
I've never heard melting in my life.
That's what they call it, melting.
Is that a real thing?
That's a real thing. Honest to God, that's a real thing.
Okay.
My colleagues from the
that might be some
theater
that might be
will
some
know that.
dangless shit.
Anyway, no, it's not. It's not. Anyway, I would always say, yeah, look, I'll do it, but I gotta do it like me. I did Cabaret last year. Oh man, what a great show! I didn't know anything about it, but I sang the Conférencier like I do it. So.
Yeah, but I mean, being convincing will always win out over like having a complete control of that technique.
But wait, why? So where did this come into the being collegial?
Well, what I wanted to know is, you have a scene in Footloose where you got to go out and you give a very emotional monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a very, like tearful, sad, emotionally high moment. Do you need preparation time before you go backstage?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look,
I mean, what did you? Do you have a routine before you go out there and deliver that scene?
No, not a routine, because you feel different every night. Sometimes I can go out there, boom, cry like that, no problem. I can get into it, and it's awful. I mean, it's fun being on stage during those sorts of things, but goddamn, you don't like thinking about shit that's gonna make you cry.
Well, and the premiere is one thing, but to do it 20 times.
Oh yeah, we're on our 25th show. Yeah. We're on our 25th show now of that, and I'm having to think of increasingly more fucked up stuff to get me to cry. My thing with that is, I need to be able to get myself to the right place. I take it out of everybody else's hands. I find the back corner of the stage where I know nobody's going to screw with me, and I can get ready.
Okay.
That way, I don't even have to say to somebody, hey, leave me alone for a second, because I wouldn't. I wouldn't. People want to be friendly. People want to hang out and do whatever. So I kind of, when I need to, I take it out of their hands and I go somewhere.
Have you had to tell people before, like, look, I need a fucking moment?
I don't make them go away. I say, okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And go. I don't make them go away. Why make them go away?
I mean, it's true, because I mean that's what I was saying earlier about being a good colleague. You need to get what you need to do that scene, but you also can't fuck up their night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey man, can you shut the fuck up about your dog? Like, I'm trying to, I gotta go there and cry. Okay,
Come on, dude. Dogs. That's I didn't use it for Footloose, but I've used dogs dying before to get me to cry.
Like a dog that you had,
yeah,
or just
absolutely.
like old Yeller?
If my family's listening, they're gonna remember when we had to put Nell down, dude. That's
Christ, man, taking
tough
this
stuff.
podcast to a low level.
And this is no, it's not low, it's high.
It's real.
Look,
is what it is.
If you're method acting, dude, you got to use that shit, let it bubble out, and then put the cap on. And what shows out coming from the cap, that's what shows on stage, baby. And we had to get. She used to eat Cheez-Its like a motherfucker, that dog. And like we would come home, we would have like a bag of Cheez-Its, and then we all of a sudden wouldn't have a bag of Cheez-Its anymore.
Yeah.
And for her last meal, when we took her, because she was suffering. For her last meal, we took a bag of Cheez-Its. And she chowed down on the Cheez-Its, and she went out the way she was happy in life.
You don't need the tears now. Don't bring them on, dude. Don't do it to me. No, you got to give people the shit. And auditions is kind of the same thing, right? You got to find a point where you're like, leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, I mean, what's your strategy for it? What do you do with these auditions where there are 20 other people of the exact same voice type, which, by the way, of course you can understand why it is competitive. They're all of the same voice type. They're probably just going to take one person.
And somehow they all look like you.
And they all fucking look alike.
Yeah.
Good God. That's actually especially the case for me as a Spieltenor, right?
Yeah.
As a character tenor or as a buffo. You don't find tall, handsome, ripped people singing my repertoire. You find Steve Buscemi. That's who. Those are the sorts of people you find.
Well, I mean, you have to be a bit
my
lucky.
best casting,
you know,
by the way, last week was Steve Buscemi.
We're gonna get there. No, it's weird. It's weird with the way the Fach works out because you have to have the voice, but you also have to match it in look these days. And I've met people before where it's like they have the most beautiful, gentle tenor voice, but they are fucking 2 meters tall. They are huge and just a massive force on stage.
I mean, we're getting kind of far away from what we had planned to do, which is fine. I don't give a shit. We don't have to stay on any topic if we don't want to. We could just sit here and drink beer in the microphone loudly.
What do you want to say?
But that's what I want to say. Yeah. Sometimes you get people saying, "All right, your voice kind of sounds like this. Maybe you should sing that." Right? I've had people tell me before that when I'm doing a production of Zauberflöte, hey, are you doing Tamino as well? And I think to myself, look, it's not a matter of singing the role. I don't look like a Tamino.
Right.
I don't look like that shit. He's supposed to be the hero. I look like Monostatos. I look like a guy who's trying to
Like a fucking troll.
like a fucking troll. Mima is my fucking dream role. I want to be a troll so badly.
Yeah, you look like a troll, man, but you are not losing you're not losing a goddamn hair on your head.
I know, dude.
It's I'm
Genetics.
I'm exploring new hairstyles over here,
Grandpa-
trying to cover up the bald spot.
Grandpa Hauser, dude, he had a full head of hair, and that's
Jesus.
a sex linked gene, baby.
Yeah.
That guy,
Lucky.
I'm gonna have a full flowing head of hair at 90.
So let me ask you this: Why do you think there is a lack of this mutual support in the opera world?
I don't know. Maybe there's something of ego. Look, we talked about how the way people speak about opera is a little pretentious, right? Sometimes, perhaps, it comes from the way people are in the opera world in general. It might be that there's a bit of ego, that people just want to, that there's this competition level to everything instead of art. You know, I think it was Ravel, right? Didn't he say competitions are for horses, not for musicians? I love it.
Did he say it in French though?
I think most likely. Likely.
I mean, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I really grew up doing rock music and had no intentions of singing opera until pretty late in like my early 20s, basically. And when I used to do these rock gigs in Seattle, you'd have 3 or 4 bands play at a bar, right? Good bands, known bands in the area. And you'd be playing guitar, they would play guitar, they'd come off the stage and you'd say, hey man, that solo you played was badass. How did you get that lick? How did you do that riff?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh man, I just do the hammer on, pull off, blah. And he would just tell you his technique.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going up to a colleague or at an audition and being like, dude, the way you diminuendoed on that high C was pimpin'. Fucking how'd you do that?
Look,
they would not tell you,
now,
man.
A lot of people wouldn't. There are, I mean, of course, there are exceptions to everything. And the colleagues who are out there who say, "Oh yeah, let me show you that. Let's go to a practice room and show you." You and I have done that before. We've said, "Okay, I'm struggling with this a little bit. Show me what you do." Okay, we're friends, so that helps. To expect it from a stranger is a bit different, but I don't know, dude. We're all going towards the same thing. And if you're doing it right, you're not just doing it for fame. You're not just doing it for bows at the end. You're doing it to communicate something. You're doing it for, it sounds corny, but art for art's sake. No, it's not that. It's not, I mean, it's not just art for art's sake. You want to be able to make a character and be convincing of it. And the thing is, there is no competition from anybody else in the world. It cannot be competition, and here's why. Because the art that one person is going... If you found a tenor that looks exactly like me, sounds almost exactly like me, they're not going to make the same art as me because they're not me. Your art comes from every experience that you've had and bringing that out, in being able to access the stuff that you've experienced. Nobody in the world, nobody in the history of the universe has experienced what you've experienced, which means that there's no competition. You can't make the same product.
Yeah. And I think that's something that people don't do because, I mean, for some reason you don't do that in rock music, but you also don't do that with actors as often, you know?
Yeah.
You're like his portrayal was this. And in Hollywood, granted, you don't have people playing the same actor very often. With all these reboots lately, you do have that, and I do think that aspect of it is interesting that you can compare this Joker to that Joker to that Joker.
Yeah.
That's basically what opera is. You know, his Scarpia good, his Scarpia bad. But instead of labeling things good and bad, it'd be nice if we just labeled his was softer, his was harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And yeah, I don't know if it's because in opera there is a standard and we have a vocabulary that we use.
Yeah, look, that's I remember it from I think it was my history of opera class at CCM where they said they were talking about. No, I remember it's a book called The End of Early Music. I can't remember exactly the author, but a great book. And the one thing that he talked about is the standardization of performance through recordings. Think about it. There is a way of doing shit before. There's a way of doing shit now that is acceptable. Before, if you were learning a piece of
you
music,
mean a standard.
There's a standard way of doing stuff.
something. Yeah,
you
exactly.
hear Una furtiva lagrima, and that cadenza at the end
Yeah.
is almost always exactly the same. Exactly the same.
In notes and dynamics.
Yeah,
I mean,
why?
And style. Yeah.
Why?
I don't fucking know, man.
The thing is, there's a great anecdote when I think Chopin was playing Liszt's music, right? And Liszt was in the audience.
Yeah.
And he came up to him afterwards and said, "Man, that was amazing. Who's the composer?" Now, I think it can't be true, but the point is that the notes on the page are the tiniest bit of it. The tiniest bit of it.
Well,
and the interpretation, if you were to just leave people to their own devices, it would be drastically different.
Well, and that's why sometimes, you always want to go to the big opera productions and you want to see the stars singing at Deutsche Oper Berlin or the Met or whatever. But man, sometimes when you go to these smaller productions where there's not the pressure of having to sell tickets and shit, and people are allowed to kind of experiment a bit, I love that stuff. It goes both ways, man. You have like the largo and these baritone things, tenor things, where it's like you have to sing the high note every time.
Yeah.
And that really stops a lot of voices and people from being able to do that role.
That's a good point.
Because it's like, you got to have the high A. But in the largo, there's very few G's written in that thing. It's not
honestly,
a high piece,
what
you know?
is that really what makes that role good? Is
Singers
the
think
A?
that. Singers think the high note makes a difference.
Right.
But the vast majority of people that are listening to your voice and being entertained by you are not directors or
Right, the
singers.
public.
They're just fucking people. And they don't know the difference between a D and an F, you know? They don't fucking know.
They want to feel that it's exciting, and they want to be entertained, and they want to be able to enjoy the melody. Those three things, right?
Yep.
Those three things are covered in the music that's written. Period. If you took out all those, I mean, high notes are of course exciting, but to enjoy the role of Figaro, you don't need any of that.
No.
You could have somebody get raving standing ovations at the end and they didn't sing it. No, I totally agree with you, dude.
I mean, just look at pop music, man. I respect a lot of stuff about pop music because there's not this standard of passaggio, and this is a high note for your Fach. It's just people make sounds, and they make the sounds where they're strong in their voice. You know what I mean? And I think it is this vocabulary of standards of passaggio, cover, tension, resonance, breath support that allows us to label good singer, bad singer.
Yeah, that's true.
In rock music, if you go, "Ugh," or the other goes, "Ugh," it's like you can't say, oh, well, he had a fucking spread. You can't define someone's voice.
He didn't move through his...
Yeah, you can't do that because you would sound like a fucking idiot to those people to be like, listen, that sounded good, but I think your subglottal pressure was a bit fucking dicky dick.
Right.
You know, like, like, what the fuck are you talking about? They don't have the vocabulary, and that's what makes them free. We're limited by our vocabulary. Of this
Preach,
shit.
brother, preach!
And if you get into the music theory aspect of things, you think because you know what a Neapolitan 6 is, you think that gives you the power to...
Give you the power! Now, look, some of this comes in that we treat these scores as holy objects. They are somewhat holy because they're amazing. The fact that every time I see a composer, every time I think that Mozart composed the things that he did, and it came from his head. Or Wagner, right? That was in his head, and then it came out.
Right.
But they're done with it.
Yeah.
Mozart doesn't give a fuck anymore. Neither does Wagner. It's our time now.
Yeah.
And
man, don't make my mic boom with
I'm
your
sorry,
clicking. Man.
dude.
You click over there.
I'm getting intense here. I'm pounding on the table.
Mike's a fidgeter.
And I think that giving artists real license to take real risks, doing shit with music that people might really hate.
Yeah.
Now that's a risk.
Yeah, there's a time.
That's a risk, dude.
No, there's a time and a place for everything. You know what I mean? If you're going to do a traditional show, powdered wigs, blah, 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 then I think the style could match that. Yeah. You know, let's keep this all fucking traditional.
For instance, wait a minute. In Mozart, how often do you hear real ornamentation? Why? Why can't you have ornamentation in Mozart? Sometimes I'm listening along with a melody, and I'll think of a tiny little lick or something like that to go in. A lick. That's not an opera term.
A riff.
A riff. I think of something like that to go in it, and then I think, man, I would be crucified. I'd be crucified.
Well, I mean,
for it.
a lot of ornamentation back in the day was improvised. You know?
Of course.
And I mean, I would love to see a show where people were doing that. You know, but it's just not common practice enough, I think, for people to have that skill. Plus, people don't forgive mistakes these days.
Man, we are way off topic. But look, you're making an important point. You're making a real point. That is, everybody's looking for new ways to make opera live.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And why not that?
And it's not off topic because my whole point is that the vocabulary we use to define right and wrong is what puts us against each other.
That's true. Okay, now I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying is that when I used to do this rock music, I couldn't label what he did as worse than me because you have to have a standard for someone to be better than someone else. Jimi Hendrix is just fucking different than Steve Vai, the next guitarist.
That's right.
You can't compare people.
Good.
You
That's good. Good reference. Good reference. No, look, I totally agree. And you're trained from the very beginning to think that way. You're trained to think critically all the time. I mean, perhaps some of it comes from this. Perhaps it comes from the people who succeed in training their voice in a specific way are the people who have very critical ears of their own voice.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a critical ear of your own voice, you can't make the improvements in your voice that you need to make to have a career. Now, perhaps it's more of a difficult thing to rein back when listening to other singers than we assume. Now, look, I'm not gonna sit here play the innocent. Who doesn't hear a singer and then think, oh, this?
Right.
But you should have understanding because what? Singing is fucking hard.
Well, and
did you hear that? These mics are great, dude. Stop it.
You might need 2 pop guards, man. Spitting all over that thing. You have to wash these. No, but you know what I mean? It's like yeah, you know singing, and there's a how you would do it, but that doesn't make how somebody else is doing it wrong.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And the thing is the famous opera singers, right? Famous fucking people, Pavarotti, Domingo, Jonas Kaufmann, you know? Like, these people have unique voices.
That's right. They sound like themselves.
I mean, one of the keys to being a fucking star is that when someone plays your music, you know it's Corelli in 2 seconds.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people, and yeah, that's great. And you obviously, you do the best you can with your voice, but a lot of people end up in the middle.
Yeah.
And the thing is we all want to be at the top. Everybody wants to. You're not special for wanting to be at the top. And everybody in college was told, you know, you're gonna be a fucking star someday by someone, your mom, your aunt, your professor.
Right.
And so I think most people, and it's not just music, it's every profession. Most people enter the profession with expectations that are way higher than what actually happens, and those expectations don't get met.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have graphs about this shit with like expectation management and all this.
Sure.
And what's going to happen is you're going to enter the professional field, and the first thing that will happen is a huge plunge in your confidence because your expectations are not met. And if you don't have some sort of support group, especially if you live in a foreign country, you know what I mean? People that can help you manage the difficulties of working your way up through the career.
Yeah,
that you didn't expect.
My teacher and good friend from my master's, Ben Smoter, great teacher. If anybody's out there who can work with him, go do it. He used to say to people when they would get a little headstrong, he'd say, "Hey, look, you're probably going to be able to plaster your walls or wallpaper your walls with rejection letters.
Yeah.
And you got to fight through that shit.
Yeah.
Because the successful people have a whole room with walls plastered with rejection letters, and they're the successful ones. Which means if you let it get you down, then you're done. Then you're done, and you can't have a career if you're going to do that. Because I'll tell you what, I think, what did I do? There was one season where I had 85 performances. 85.
Yeah.
You cannot sing them all well.
No.
Sometimes you say, "Oh man, I don't feel good, but I don't feel well enough. I don't feel bad enough to cancel."
And it's a job that night.
And it's a job, exactly.
You have to give the show somehow.
And you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
You have to prepare yourself, man. I'm gonna feel like shit. And here comes the colleagues. You got to be there for your colleague on that night.
You got to understand it.
You have to understand it and be
Yeah.
and don't bullshit them. Don't do the. Oh no! It sounded great.
No, say that was shit, man. But usually you sound good. You know?
Right? Exactly.
That's what I'd want to hear.
Right. That's exactly, dude. I hate
because
when
I trust
somebody
that.
tells me.
Because you know, I know, we all know when it's bad.
Yeah.
You know, we know when you crack a note. You know, but I mean, because the thing is,
Oh no! Oh no!
let me ask you this. Another thing I noticed the difference between rock music and classical music was in the rock scene. If you don't have a gig, nobody cares because I guess there's not that many or people don't work as often. But singers, when you're out of a gig, which is normal, there's ups and downs, there's peaks and valleys for most people that aren't doing long fest contracts.
That's right.
For guest singers or people starting out, you have months where you're not singing.
Yeah.
And there are singers that will refuse to let people know that they have a second job or that they're saving money. You know what I mean?
Understand
There's
it
this
too.
there's this stigma of like, I only make my money from singing.
Yeah, no, I understand it too. The stigma also exists at the beginning of your career. It's like you can't. People can say you can't really consider yourself an opera singer before you've sung. Before you have that gig. Look, you've trained. You've done some hard time. You're gonna have to do more hard time. You just. Look, that's a whole other podcast again. Dealing with rejection, dude. And as a matter of fact, we'll do that. Let's
you said
let's
that last
get into
time.
that.
We can do that next time,
Let's
yeah.
do it in the next time because honestly, I cannot stress enough. That is one of the biggest skills you can learn, not just in your career, but also on stage.
You mean fucking up something on stage and
Fucking
just
up
moving
stuff,
past it?
and you gotta keep going. That orchestra is not going to stop and reflect on that.
No,
bad
let's talk
note
about that
with
next
you.
time.
Yeah.
I got stuff to say about that too.
Right.
I mean, because one of the things is one of my biggest problems with the opera career is people are not entrepreneurial enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, in rock music, you have to take your own photos. You have to sell yourself. You have to do all that. Yeah. And in opera, there's more of this like I get an agent. They give me a contract at the theater. They give me shows route. Yeah. Right. And the thing is about being entrepreneurial is if you take music out of the equation and you just say I have a product and I want to sell this product. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a business person. You would diversify your income in the beginning.
I have gotten some real shit. I've gotten some real shit about thinking about myself that way before.
What do you mean?
Thinking of what you do as a product.
Wow, how's that bad?
Because people don't like to think of art as a product or a commodity.
Yes,
And
yes. When you're on
because-
stage in that moment, it's not.
No, even then it is. People are consuming it. People are definitely
I mean,
consuming it.
yeah, right. I don't
And
go.
your
I don't,
and your ability to convince those people out on the stage makes you marketable, makes the product that's on the stage more valuable.
yeah. And I think you have to have a choice. Like if you're really in it for the art, then man, that's fucking free. There in Frankfurt today, it was sunny. I was downtown, right? There is amazing street music going out there.
Right.
There's a lot of shitty street music, but there's this guy. He has a piano. He pulls it around on a trailer. He parks in the middle of the. You've seen him before, right?
And from the Netherlands, right?
There's like 3 or 4 of them that are all over Germany. But that's some musical shit he was doing.
Absolutely,
like
dude.
like sensitive. Like real art. He had a crowd. They were clapping. They were giving him money.
Art is completely independent. I mean, it's completely independent. Okay, so art is independent of making profit or anything.
Yeah, but
like
most
that.
people, if you're honest with yourself, you want to make money.
Of course,
because
and
you can do
must.
that. You can do that, man. I did that. I sung on the streets when I was first starting out to make money.
Look, and if you don't want to admit that, then go ahead and sing for free the rest of your life. That's fine.
You can
that
do
is
that
a
if it's
perfectly
about
acceptable
art.
thing.
But most of us want a balance, right? Most of us want to balance creating art, like real artistic shit, but also making a living.
Look, going back to what you said before, people don't want to admit that they have a second job. That's why. That's one of the reasons why you don't just want to make art. You want to have the financial freedom to just make art.
Yeah, but that needs a startup. You have to start that up.
Absolutely,
all aspects of that.
That's why somebody feels shame though, and they shouldn't. I mean, nobody starting up either a career or a business ever just has immediate success off the top. Well, some people might,
I mean, and you ignore those people.
Yeah.
You ignore those
the
success
exception.
stories.
Yeah.
That does nothing for you to be like, well, it happened for them. But you look at like Elon Musk and these people that started PayPal in a fucking garage, like Hewitt. What's that HP computer company? They did the same shit. That's you. That's you. And if you want to do nothing but make art for people, you got to sacrifice in your 20s, and you have to think about it in that way. You have to set up your headshots, your audition stuff. You have to cast the wide net, like you said last week.
Yeah.
And that takes money, and that takes support from people. What are you pointing at your watch for?
What
does that mean?
That means we
35 minutes, man. What do you got? We got 25 minutes left. We got with nothing. We got the Hollywood casting.
That's true. No, we have another beer to get through, dude.
Well, then pull them out, man. You're the one nursing over there.
Dude, I'm
Put a
done.
nipple on that thing.
I'm done. You've got a half.
Hold on. We're back. Okay, everybody. Sorry, I got really animated with my gestures and fucking pulled the cable. We're fucking back. All right, get the beer out. I can't remember what we were talking about, but basically, my whole point with the entrepreneurial stuff is that people often get. I'll get the beers. They feel isolated in the beginning. You're not having success. You're not making money. You're like afraid to let people know you're doing something else besides singing. You know what I mean? And you have to support. My whole point in all this was to get to the point that you have to have singer friends. You have to have singer friends. Nobody else will understand this career besides singers. All right, what do you got?
Holy shit!
This is called Holy Shit Ale. That's what I bought. I was coming to play, and this is a beer that's 10% alcohol. So this is basically like I don't know, wine.
Dude, you're like 100 pounds heavier than I am, and it's all muscle. I've got nothing on my bones. You
got a bottle open over there?
Do you remember Men in Black? Do you remember that movie?
No, man.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
Don't you remember when Edgar comes in with the?
I don't know character names.
No. He comes. The alien puts on the guy's skin, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I remember that.
And the lady, she says, Edgar's skin's hanging off her bones. Edgar's skin's hanging off her bones. I don't know why I said that, but there it is. There's my movie reference for the day.
I don't know what you're getting at. You think there's fucking mice down here, man?
No, nothing. This is a brand new building, dude.
Yeah, but mice find their ways in, man.
No, dude, I have not seen a spider in my apartment. Not one. Not one goddamn spider.
If you find a mouse, grab it. It could be our first fucking guest.
Eat it.
Tanya Mouskowitz to tell us about Fievel's addiction to nasal spray. How's that for a fucking random movie reference?
Oh my God!
I know Fievel Mouskowitz's sister's name. Okay, Tanya Mouskowitz. I won't tell you why.
All right.
All right, open it up, man. I want to see what this tastes like.
Tanya.
Okay, look, man. I don't know. We got 20 minutes left in this thing.
Dude, we're bullshitters. Let's get to the Hollywood casting, and then we're gonna play a little just the tip.
Yeah. We're gonna do a little sword fighting here. Tune in.
Dude, this beer, this podcast is gonna get more and more interesting as we go along. 10%.
I can't open this shit, man.
Because you're untalented.
Down in the basement, baby. All right, Hollywood casting. So while you're pouring, you want me to do some? So one of the feedbacks we got from actually a couple people is when we did our Hollywood casting last week about the magic flute, we just fucking jumped in and assumed everyone knew what that was. But it's probably for the best to summarize the thing. So before I get to this opera thing, I want to talk about last week. So we did the Instagram vote.
Yeah. Right.
And Mike and we actually had a lot of people vote. I expected there to be like 2 votes. Right. Because you cannot get opera people to engage.
Right.
Even some of these like profiles I've been looking at that have like 10,000 followers, they can't get more than like 3 people to comment on something. Opera people will not engage. Have you ever done a concert? We did a concert once in the in a fucking greenhouse. You remember that shit?
I did jump in on that.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
In the greenhouse. They had us in a glass greenhouse. Loudest concert ever. Do you remember that woman covering her ears, terrified?
Dude, your voice is fucking loud, though.
I was singing Toreador.
You were yelling at that lady.
And she was personally offended. You know how distracting that shit is?
She covered her ears. That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't know why I started telling that story, but we were in this greenhouse.
I can't remember either.
Something to do with Don Giovanni. No, it had to do with during that concert we were trying to get people to engage. We were singing something from Die Fledermaus or something.
Right.
It was like clap your hands, and like they would just stare at us. You cannot They are the fucking frozen chosen, man.
Anyway, dude, I've got something to say about this vote.
What?
So
17 to 17.
Right. But I've got the tiebreaker right here.
Yeah.
I've got a tiebreaker for you.
Okay.
I'm going to give the win to Jared in week 1. I'm giving it to him. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
I'll tell you why. I got so much goddamn feedback about the Hocus Pocus girls
Yeah.
that that's
was my
the
best- that was my
that's the
best thing.
tiebreaker, dude. And look, I was shocked by that one last week.
Yeah.
That tore me asunder. That one. It was a good casting, as good as it gets. It was a perfect casting. My vote, the tiebreaker, and this is what has to happen each time.
Yeah. For a
There has to
tiebreaker.
there has to be someone who gives in, admitting that the other person's was really
It's
good.
a lot of confidence in our
And
relationship.
Boom! There it goes.
I appreciate it.
There it goes.
No, it was good. That was good, I have to admit. But
All right,
actually,
all right.
you know what's
Okay.
funny about the vote? 17 to 17 is I got a personal message on Instagram from someone that wrote no one.
What?
A woman wrote us on Instagram, and she went out of her right
What
because
the fuck?
the way I did it is I did Mike's cast, my cast, and then in the last one I did who won ? Jared, Mike, and the woman wrote no one
Man.
with 3 O's, so maybe it was none, but it's kind of the same thing.
Oh my God, that
Man.
hurts.
So she could have been the tiebreaker. So whoever you are, I can't remember the name. Something with metal music, metal opera, or something. Okay, you fucked it up.
You
all
fucked
right?
it all up.
You could have done a good thing, and you chose
Have
to do
an
a bad
opinion.
thing. Look at yourself as
Have
a person.
goddamn
Look at
opinion.
yourself, and you're tearing down the biz. All right,
Honestly,
okay.
dude.
All right. This week
Do
we're
that,
doing
whatever.
Don Giovanni. Mike pointed out today or yesterday that we're doing 2 Mozart operas in a row, which is fucked up. So Mike can choose the next one.
Yeah, I'll choose the next
whatever
one.
the fuck you want to do. Just do something people know.
Right.
So we're doing Don Giovanni. So I'm gonna do my best to summarize this shit.
Real quick, dude.
I
do
did.
it.
I did that role a while ago. So the opera starts. Don Giovanni fails to seduce Donna Anna, right? And he's trying to escape, and her father, the commendatory, duels him, right? And there's got to be rain for this scene, by the way.
Why?
Every time they make one of those opera to DVD movies they were making in the 80s, it's always raining during this scene.
I didn't know you had
That's
to
a good
die in
Hollywood
rain.
trick. You got to die.
do it.
If you can do it. Anyway, so Don Giovanni kills him, fucks off, right? And so Donna Anna and her fiance, they're like, we vow revenge. All right, that's the setup for the opera. So then the next scene I think you see is she's not crazy. She's pissed. Donna Elvira's pissed because Don Giovanni basically married her to fuck her.
Right.
And then left.
And
right?
then fucking left.
Which is a dick fucking move.
But that's a Don Giovanni move.
And I know there's people out there doing this shit, all right? And you're a dick for no.
Right.
okay.
You're Don your dick.
So he gets the fuck out of there and leaves his servant Leporello to clean up the mess, right? And then you get the catalog shit. All right. So she's pissed. So this whole opera is basically Don Giovanni doing one fucked up thing after the other. So the next thing he does is goes to a peasant wedding and basically tries to fuck the woman about to get married.
That's right.
Zerlina, right? And her husband Mazzetto gets pissed, but because of the class system, can't do shit.
That's
right.
right.
So Don Oliveira shows up and basically saves Zerlina from this shit. And Don Giovanni's thing is like, all right, let's have a fucking party. That's really what happens next in the opera, right?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, basically
Yeah.
he's like, let's have a fucking party. So then at the party, all the characters show up, and Don Giovanni tries to take another stab at Zerlina.
Oh,
Zing.
stab.
And she like screams, everyone's like, fuck this guy. He runs out, tells Leporello to pretend to be him. They end up in the graveyard, pisses on the grave of the man he killed, invites him to dinner, right? Shows up, drags him to hell.
That's right.
That's the opera, right?
Good. That's a great
Right?
summary.
Don Giovanni does a bunch of fucked up shit.
And he likes the ladies.
And he likes those fucking ladies. All right, listen. So I had to go first last time. I think you should go first this
All right,
time.
that's fair. Hold on, get my phone out. Get my phone.
Jesus
I
Christ.
got it on my phone.
Down in the fucking basement, man. Like a couple of forgotten dusty couches. I mean,
Put that shit on eBay.
you should
eBay.
you should eBay some of the shit you got over there, man.
Okay, should we start from the top, or should
Save Leporello and Don Giovanni for the end.
And
You gotta say,
Commendatore.
okay, yeah, whatever.
All right.
Let me guess, James Earl Jones again.
No, funny enough, he has 3 names.
Ah, you did the same guy I did.
Are you serious? Okay, let's see. Let's see.
Fuck.
I'm gonna start with Mazzetto and Zerlina.
Okay.
So Mazzetto, right?
Yeah.
I cast a helpless dick, the person who plays helpless, befuddled, but wants to be strong, right? Michael Cera, right?
From like what's that movie he did where he drinks the
Yeah.
Tide Pod before anyone else did? It was cool. What was that? Where they just tried to drink beer the whole time.
Super
Bad
bad.
with the blue beer,
That's
man.
right.
Michael
Great.
Cera. Hey,
Yeah.
guys. Hey.
I think it's a great. I can imagine him as Mazeppa.
All right.
Elizabeth Olsen. I don't know if you know her. So Salina is somewhat of a difficult character to cast because I think she.
Yeah.
I think she's serious but also a little funny, and I think Elizabeth Olsen can do it. I mean, honestly, where are the other Olsen fucking twins? The Olsen twins are gone, and then their little sister comes up and storms it. Dude, she's fucking talented.
Is she?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've probably seen her in something. I'm just terrible with names.
What do we got next? Don Elvira. Okay, we needed somebody with experience, right?
Yeah.
Somebody with experience with Donnie G. I went a generation older.
Okay.
Just one generation older, Kirsten Dunst.
Okay.
What do you think? It doesn't matter what you think.
I
Okay.
think it's shit.
So, listen, Donna
Kirsten
Anna,
Dunst.
Donna Anna and Don Ottavio are difficult
Yeah.
because of my disdain for Don Ottavio, right? I fucking hate that character because he's such a
It's
pussy.
kind of an unnecessary
He's such
character.
A pussy. He just talks big and does nothing. Nothing the whole time. So I thought of I love this one.
You always do this.
Dude, sorry. I when I did it, I yelled out loud.
All right.
You could ask my wife. I yelled out loud.
Yeah, what is it?
Someone who talks big and does nothing, Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber,
Justin
man.
fucking Bieber.
Oh Christ, you're really going for it on this
Dude,
one. Okay.
he's got to be someone who talks hard and blah, 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 and does nothing and will run and will run.
You should have cast yourself.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Ow, god damn. God
It's
damn.
just a joke, man.
That's a barbed thing you just
it's
put
just a
into me.
fucking joke. Man.
So, but look, I didn't know who to cast with him. That was casting with him was difficult. So I asked my wife, who's going to fall in love with
Which
Justin Bieber?
doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, maybe not. But if you, I'm sure you
Yeah,
had some advice, right? I asked my wife who would fall in love with a Justin Bieber, and she put me onto this person, has 11.1 million followers on Instagram.
Okay.
Her name is Maddie Ziegler,
I
right?
have no idea what that is.
Neither did I.
Okay.
Looked her up. That is Donna Anna. She's fucking Justin Bieber's.
I gotta look it up.
That's Justin Bieber's pair right there.
All right.
All right? People might look at them as strong. I don't.
All right,
they
man.
they vow revenge. Do they get revenge? No.
Jesus
the
Christ, man. Get
commendatore-
off the mic.
No, fuck, dude. The commendatore has to come in and fucking do the work.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they have this goddamn little dance that they do in the postlude.
Yeah, that
which, by the way,
cut that shit. They
no,
do sometimes.
You know this. Here's a little fun fact for you. The original one was in Prague. Didn't have it. Didn't have it at all. The opera ends the way it fucking should, with him being dragged into hell. Only in more conservative Vienna did they add this sort of like, well, now we know that fucking around is wrong. That sort of thing. And it's oh my god, it's such a cock block to art every single time. Anyway, that's those two because Don Anna and Don Ottavio didn't do anything in the opera. They just bitched the whole time. Leporello,
Okay, here it is.
John C. Reilly.
Who the
Yeah,
fuck
no.
is that?
Step Brothers.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Will Ferrell's brother.
Will Ferrell's brother. I didn't want to go Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go Will Ferrell. I'm keeping him in my pocket for when it's really right.
That's good.
That's
good. That's good.
He's got to be funny, but he's somehow got to act like he's serious the whole time.
Right.
And that's John C. Reilly.
Okay.
Okay.
Don G.
Commendatore.
Oh, Commendatore. Okay.
Tommy Lee Jones.
I didn't do that.
Ah, see?
I didn't do that.
Three
My
names
guy's
that
got
you
three
didn't do?
names, but not Tommy Lee Jones.
That's crazy, dude. The reason I said Tommy Lee Jones is because you watch him in movies, and sometimes he stays absolutely still. He stays still like a stone.
Give me a character he did.
In No Country for Old Men. I did two.
Yeah, you did that last time.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
Javier Bardem last time.
Which is not the guy from Grey's Anatomy. I looked it up.
I know, me too. I looked it up too. It's not the guy from Grey's Anatomy. I was hoping you were going to put like on the
Like an
YouTube
asterisk
video.
Yeah. No,
saying
I'll come back with it. Yeah.
Anyway, he would stay absolutely still and be expressive the whole time. I thought that's kind of statuesque.
Okay.
Commendatore, baby.
Statuesque. Give me Don G, man. I'm itching to get mine.
So Donnie G, Playboy, Bradley Cooper.
It's a good one. That's great. I didn't think about that. That's a great one. Not as good as mine, but that's great.
All right, let's go. I want to hear it.
You had your fun. Now let's fucking clean up the mess.
Dude, I honestly have spit on my spit guard here.
Yeah, we're going to have to buy new ones, man, because you can't wash this shit. But, it's like lederhosen, If you wash it, it's bullshit. So the more that smells like beer, okay? And your halitosis.
Sweaty balls.
All right.
That's what it's supposed to smell like.
All right. So I'm going to save Commendatore. Don't look at my list,
I'm not. Don't start with the Commendatore.
No, I'm going to save the Commendatore, Giovanni, and Leporello for the end. All right. Donna Anna, okay. Strong female character. I went Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
Went Jennifer Lawrence with her. I paired her with Seth Green.
Seth Green is
for Don Ottavio. Seth Green was in all the Austin Power movies. He's Dr. Evil's son.
Okay. Yeah. No. Wait. Okay. Weak.
Yeah, weak.
Sorry.
Weak, but I don't know.
But wants to be strong.
Yeah, but Don Giovanni is also an opera that is serious, but it's fucking funny.
Have you ever seen? No, look.
And you have to pair the serious one with a little comic sidekick.
Da Ponte and Mozart both described it as a light drama, a funny drama, a comical drama.
Yeah, totally. And I thought she could play the strong, you don't fuck with me and get away with the character, and he could play the guy trying to live up to her strength but can't. You know what I mean?
Okay. By the way, when you said Jennifer Lawrence, for some reason, I thought J-Lo instead. Jennifer Lopez.
No,
so this
Jennifer
whole time
Lawrence,
I was like, man, that's a weird combination.
No, man, it's no Justin Bieber.
Not J-Lo, J-Law.
All right, shut the fuck up. All right. Don Elvira, you ready for this one? This is possibly my best one.
Ready as I'm going to be.
Okay? She has to have this, she was fucked over so much that it's on the edge of insanity, but she's fucking just pissed, right? Winona Ryder, baby. Winona Ryder.
All right.
You know it's good. I see it in your face. You're trying to act like it's not.
Look, I'm just going to say, if I'm going to lose this week, it might be because of Kirsten Dunst, although I like her, and I think she could do a good job, but that's better.
No, not. All right, listen. Selena, Heather Graham.
No.
No,
way, dude.
Not Heather Graham, because Selena's not stupid. She's naive.
Does she give in? Does she give in to Donnie G?
Selena or Heather Graham?
She doesn't. Selena.
At the end of La Chirarem, does she not? He would have had her if Don Elvira didn't bust in.
Yeah, okay. That's a fine part. That's a fine point. Fine point. It's a fine point.
No, okay, Heather Graham. Okay, but here now, I went a different. The 10% beer is getting you, right?
Oh God, this is not fucking around.
It's
dude.
good though, right?
It's good.
It tastes good, but it's strong as shit. Okay, Mazzetto. I went a different route. Who was your Mazzetto?
Michael Cera.
Yeah, you went real funny with it.
No, but he always. You look in his movies. He's always trying to be serious.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's hilarious.
I know what you mean. I put the comedy in some of the other characters. Mazzetto. I really went for this suppressed by the class.
Okay.
By the social class,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Type of thing. So I did Will Smith. Because nobody plays fucking hero that is not allowed to be a hero through circumstances beyond his control like Will fucking Smith.
You did. Okay, so you looked at Mazzetto more like a Figaro.
Yeah, more I don't know. Hey,
I
his
like
stuff
it.
in Giovanni, to me, it could be funny, and I've seen funny Mazzettos. But to
if
me,
I were allowed, I'd fuck you up.
Yeah, that's a tragic thing what he's going through. That's hard shit.
It's insightful. I
You know
like
what
it.
I mean?
I like it. No, that's a good one. But Heather Graham together with Heather Graham, Will Smith and Heather Graham, dude. That's sloppy job.
Yeah, I got lazy on that, man. We were in Dresden. We were in fucking Chemnitz yelling at sheep. I didn't have time for this shit. All right. And that write-up for the thing we put on Instagram somehow took forever, man.
We had a 5-hour drive back. That took a good 2.5 hours.
It is hard.
But no, look, they asked us a question. What are your hopes for opera? And we debated that shit.
Yeah. We're gonna do like a 2-episode podcast about that at some point.
Anyway, go.
Look, Commendatore. Michael Clark Duncan is the guy from Green Mile, the guy that gets electrocuted, right?
Oh, man.
That's who I went with for Commendatore.
Didn't he die?
Yeah, he died recently.
Oh, man.
That guy, though, no one plays fucking unmovable like that guy.
But he's so sweet.
The Commendatore is. He's her father, man.
Yeah, but
That's
he's
her
also
protecting
drags
his
him
baby
to
girl.
fucking hell.
Yeah, and he kills someone in Green Mile, doesn't he? Doesn't like the bad guy? Doesn't he? He
Yeah,
he takes Tom Hanks like pissy ouch feelings, and he fucking breathes it into.
Yeah, he breathes it into him.
like-
He doesn't really kill. No, he doesn't die. He doesn't die. He's just stupid for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, man. That's pretty much making somebody go to hell.
It is, but
Is that
when
Paul
you
Rudd?
watch-
Who is that? That
when
plays
you
that?
watch it, no, it's not Paul. No, it's not
Paul
Rudd.
Rudd's in everything,
It's
man.
not Paul Rudd.
Who is
But
that actor? The
I
guy that
can't
goes
remember.
crazy, man.
I can't remember.
Fuck.
He's actually a good actor. A good
We'll find.
serious
He's in
actor.
everything. We'll find him out next week.
But wait, even when he's doing it, you kind of think with that big burly
Boise.
man, you're like, aw.
Yeah. I don't know. That's how I think of the
Anyway,
commentary.
okay, go for it.
All right,
And
here we go.
I'm not going to argue with it. It's good.
I did a pair.
Besides, it's not
All
up to
right,
me. It's
all
up
right.
to the people.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
up to the people.
Yeah. Okay. Mike's getting all fucking preachy over here with the 10%.
Dude, this is good.
We're almost done. You got to make it 5 more minutes, all right? Look, I did a pair for Giovanni and Leporello. Okay, Leporello, Jonah Hill.
Dude, I wish you could have seen my
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, every week
It
with
was
this
my
shit,
no.
man.
I'm sorry. This one is absolutely true. I scratched it.
Yeah.
I scratched it for one reason.
Why?
One reason.
Because it was too good.
No. I couldn't imagine him doing the catalog aria. I couldn't imagine him doing patter, like really good patter.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that
I
was
don't know.
that was
It's
an acting technical thing that I scratched him on.
Okay.
It's a fine choice, but I thought to myself, man, you're casting the catalog aria, and I don't know if I can see
Yeah, I mean,
him
that's
being
the
like
whole
tuck,
role.
tuck, 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 you know. By the way,
the whole role.
Germans when they want to say like things one right after another, they say tuck, 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 tuck. So I did that, and maybe people didn't get it, but
Anyway,
that's
shut the fuck up. All right. I paired him with Channing Tatum for Don Giovanni.
Which one's he?
How the fuck?
No, I
Magic Mike, man. That's Magic fucking Mike. And they did like 21 Jump Street or what the fuck it was called together.
Okay.
You don't fucking get this. This is above your head. But the people on Instagram, I think I'm going to landslide this shit. Like a landslide.
No way, dude.
Suck my dick.
Ask the women out there who they would rather be with, Channing Tatum or fucking Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper's gorgeous. He's
Yeah, man.
gorgeous.
Yeah, but it's a different thing. All right. Look. Jesus. I don't Stop. The headphones are in my head. All right. Dial it back, man. Dial it back. All right. So I got one question, okay?
Okay.
This week. Somebody sent So we're doing now just the tip, which okay.
Just the tip.
I'm going to write some music for these segments, but
we gotta find.
it takes so fucking long. And I'm kind of pissed that nobody even talked about our theme song at the beginning of this thing, man.
No,
That was Mike's idea.
No, I got comments
I
for
wrote it, but that was Mike's idea, man. That was clever, man.
For some reason, Scarpia was the only one that I could do. Maybe just because you sang Scarpia and everything. Maybe because I relate it with you. But I don't know.
You described
feels-
it perfectly. The chords going to the electric guitar, fading into the thing, man. Like,
And for some reason, Scarpia, that theme works well for yeah, ba, 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 ba.
yeah, and just 10 seconds and you're in, man.
We did another version of it with singing sex, drugs, and opera.
Oh, that's never gonna make it to the public,
Dude,
man.
that is happening. If I have to pirate that onto the internet,
No.
the recording I have, what he sent me like this fucking like just rough cut. He's like, oh, you mean like this, blah 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 blah, and then I did harmony over top
Yeah.
of it while it was playing on my car. Dude, it's fucking killer.
We were driving in our cars, singing rock. Okay, we got to wrap this up. Okay,
Just a tip.
Gyps the tip. So the question I got,
just a tip.
I actually got a couple. So we got kind of a supply now for the future podcast. But this week, somebody wrote and said, "Hey guys, love the podcast. Thank you, appreciate it." Some people actually like the podcast, man.
How about that?
And she said, "I want to take my boyfriend to see his first opera. What do you think's a good first opera?"
Oh man.
That's what she said, man.
Well, let's do two things. What was your first opera?
First opera I saw.
Yeah. Not live. What's the first one you came to know?
I have no idea, man. Do you
Okay,
know
then
the
what's-
first opera?
Yeah, absolutely.
I forget all my firsts, man.
Dude.
The first cigarette, the
Don
first
Giovanni. Fucking Don Giovanni. Topical. Ha! Okay.
What? You remember your first opera?
Yeah, absolutely. Tosca.
Okay, how old were you?
Oh, God. I remember there was this chorus festival that I did,
Hmm.
and I had to find one of the 24 Italian songs and arias, the 24 hits, the classics. And after that, I went to a Blockbuster, no joke.
Yeah.
And Blockbusters, they exist. And they had an opera there, and it was Tosca. It was a tape of Tosca with the tenor was Aragal, and it was an you know that guy. He was one of the he could have been the fourth tenor. Had he just had his career kept going, he'd have been amazing, and he was amazing in this, and I was blown away. I remember I would read in my opera description book. I would read the scene because it didn't have any subtitles. I would read the scene and then go until I could tell that it was to the next scene, and then I'd read that.
Okay.
So you go yours and the first one you saw, and then we'll say what the best one to see is.
I honestly don't remember because I mentioned earlier.
Anything.
I swear to God, I think I did opera before I ever saw one.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, because these podcasts don't have to be exactly an hour. They
No,
can go
fuck
over 10
that.
minutes.
No, they can go.
I'm going to tell a very brief story of how I got into opera. I was doing rock. Actually, I was doing rock music, and I got a tuba scholarship, right? And they canceled my fucking tuba scholarship and kicked me out of music school because the guy. I want to say his name, but I won't because I don't know where he is. Because fuck him, right? But he apparently had like a nervous breakdown and fucked off to Europe, right? And did not fill out any of my paperwork. And they were like, "You are not a student here. Go home." So I had to go work in a car warehouse.
Dude, what is it about tubas? The lead or the principal tuba in the Pittsburgh Symphony.
Yeah.
At one point, left.
Yeah, man, they lose their fucking minds because how
Dude,
many
he
half
was-
notes can you fucking play in your life? How many 5 fucking 1 can you do?
No, this guy, he went to the Curtis,
Yeah.
and then he got the
Curtis.
job. Or Curtis, or is it the Curtis?
Curtis Institute for
Curtis
Music,
Institute,
man.
right.
He
Anyway.
went to the Curtis.
the Curtis. And he got the job in Pittsburgh when he was like 17 or 18 with Lauren Mazel,
And you
right?
just sit in that chair every day for your fucking life.
Not that, and not only that, but the pressure, dude. The
Yeah.
fucking
No,
pressure.
I-
he just up and out.
Yeah, I swear to God, dude, I played tuba for like a long time. I studied it for like 10 years. It's not what people fucking think it is.
Okay, let's get back on track.
Anyway, so I got kicked out of school. I worked in a car house for a while. I went back to school. I went to school for music business, right? And they canceled the music business degree after 2 years. And I was a year away from getting a music degree and had fucking no instrument. And so they were like, "Look, there's no singers at this school. We can give you one
Dude,
in singing if you
that's
take the voice
amazing.
lesson." And that's how I started taking voice lessons. So I really had no background in opera. I didn't really give a shit about opera.
That's crazy, dude.
And I think they cast me in like scenes from Così fan tutte or something like
I'm
that.
not trying to pet Jared or anything, but he's got a real fucking dramatic voice. And how you missed that in. I mean, how the fuck did it only come out of absolute necessity?
I mean, my voice also changed late, so I think I couldn't have started singing much earlier than that, honestly. I mean, I was like 19, 20,
Yeah.
and I mean, you kind of have to be that old
That
before you
hap-
can start
that
singing
happens.
if you're a low voice guy.
Okay, so you don't
Listen,
have a first
I think
opera.
Così fan tutte was the first one I did, but I was in it. I don't think I saw an opera before
see.
that, honestly.
Wow, that's amazing.
So have you thought about it? What would you suggest?
No, La Boheme is what you got to go to.
Yeah.
La Boheme's first off, it's basically the chick flick of opera. It's the chick flick of opera, but it's not only that, it's amazing.
Yeah.
There's no bad guy, which is a problem. There's no bad guy, and bad guys are exciting. Of course.
Tuberculosis is the bad guy.
Yeah, tuberculosis and just fucking
old TB.
shitty.
Love and
shitty
jealousy is the bad guy.
relationship problems. Relationship.
No.
problems.
Bohem's good. Bohem's good. My advice for first operas, because I actually get asked this question a lot,
Yeah.
is that people don't know opera, and opera is like obscure film genre. You have to ease into it.
Right.
And most people's
Just a
problem
tip.
with opera,
Just a tip.
this is just the tip coming at you now. Most people's problem with opera is that it's too fucking long.
That's right.
Okay? It's too long. And so I always say pagliacci. Okay?
Good one.
It's like 90 minutes, 2 hours long.
But it's always paired with something, dude.
Yeah, and we'll come at the intermission. I mean, because it's
Right.
paired with Cavaliere Rusticana. But still, it's like those operas are so short, the plot never stops.
Good-
Even
good
in Bohème,
suggestion.
Act 3 gets a little bit slow. I completely
Oh,
agree
yeah.
with you. I completely agree with you. But most operas get a bit slow. Do not take someone to see Verdi and Wagner. That's like somebody who's never seen movies and you take them to see some like old 3-hour Humphrey Bogart like shit, you know?
Yeah,
like show
what's
them
Rosebud? What's Rosebud?
Rosebud. Show them an hour 20-minute like soft thing.
The fuck is the name of that movie, dude? Rosebud.
I don't fucking know.
I can't remember. Why can't I remember?
With the snow globe or whatever?
Yeah, Orson Welles.
I don't fucking remember.
Man, I can't remember.
We'll just say it on the next podcast.
Yeah, on the next
All right, look,
podcast.
pagliacci is what I'm saying. Pagliacci, Mike says Bohème. Both good ideas. Make sure the plot moves, right? Keep it short. Nothing too
Something
fucking
relatable.
esoteric. Yeah.
And relatable. That's the thing. Relationships, of course, are relatable.
Yeah.
La Boheme, everybody knows about fucking being jealous and fighting with someone.
I mean, like
your significant
Tristan or
other.
something like. Yeah, I mean, just keep it easy. It takes a long time to get into opera, and sometimes since we've been doing it our whole lives or like for a long time, we forget that people who don't fucking know it are gonna think most of that shit's strange.
And relatable music. That's the other thing. If it's, I mean, short is a good suggestion, but it's not everything. Salome is short, but it's not exactly accessible music.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. Yeah, or an operetta or some shit.
Fucking Salome is good, dude.
I don't know, man. You got
that's
anything
good
else
shit.
you want to say?
No, dude. I'm happy with this beer.
Yeah, we're
I'm
gonna.
fucking
Mike and
happy
I.
with
Last
this
time we
beer.
did the podcast, we did it like 10 in the morning, and we were drinking anyway. But I'm gonna shut your mic off, dude. If you don't, let me end this fucking podcast, man. All right, so
Just testing the chords, see if they're working.
tonight it's like 9:30 p.m. So Mike and I are gonna get ripped tonight on this stuff. Look, for everybody following, for everybody writing us. Thanks a lot. Please do it. Please. Right. Good or bad. Like, we really want to hear back from people. And if you have something that you want on the podcast.
Yeah. Hey,
tell
none
us.
lady. No one lady.
Yeah.
Write us and tell us why.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. Who would you cast? That's the other thing. Go ahead and tell us who you guys are casting
Yeah.
for these
Fucking
operas.
no one. Who no one is? You're no
Right, you are no one. No, look, honestly, I won't accept the whole no one thing unless you write back and say who you cast. I will give you public credit by name on here.
Who's
if you
your
can do it better.
Papageno, huh? Okay, look, that's it for us today. We'll be back in 2 weeks. You know, you'll see us out on Instagram. We appreciate everything. I don't know. See you soon. Mike's
Love you
fucking
guys.
drunk.
See ya.